We finished top of our Champions League group. We're top of the Premier League. We've got a top of the table clash today. And we've got over £40 million to spend in the January transfer window that's about to open. This can't go wrong at this point, surely. Hello and welcome to part 171 of Backing the Boro. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have that top of the table clash at home against Arsenal, followed by another home game against Liverpool. It's the Christmas games, one slightly before, one on Boxing Day. Very exciting stuff. Since you were last with me, form has been really rather good. We are unbeaten all the way back since Arsenal. In fact, if we look at our league as a total, if we've only lost 3 games in the whole season. Unfortunately, 2 of them have been against Arsenal, the team we played today. They're currently 6-0 up on aggregate. They beat us 5-0 in the league on the first day of the season. And then they beat us 1-0 in the Carabao Cup. When we got knocked out of that, we have also lost. Oh, in fact, we've lost against Valencia and Hibs in the Champions League as well. So we've lost 4 games. But 2 of them have still been against Arsenal. We did manage to win our group, though. 5-0 win against Sporting Lisbon meant we did top our group. And we've got Nantes, I think, in the next round. Yep, so that feels winnable to me. You'll all be pleased to know as well that Nuhu has developed a little bit of a habit of coming off the bench and scoring winning goals. He came off the bench and scored against Sporting. Obviously, we'd already won that game, but he got 2 goals to grab the winners against Man City. Didn't come on against Stoke, and we didn't win. Did come on against Wolves, and again, scored the winner. They've all been screamers. So, I'm starting Nuhu today. I came up with that idea all by myself. I'm a genius, and I notice trends quickly. This is the team we are putting out there against Arsenal. Now, it's not all sunshine and roses, unfortunately. We are going into this game with a whole bunch of injuries and suspensions. Charlie Jones, who was just coming back into form, broke his toe again. I think it was against Sporting. He broke his toe. He's going to be out until February, which isn't ideal, but it does mean he's back in time for when the Champions League comes back. So he's having a nice little rest with his broken toe. Maestra's still going to be out for the rest of the season with his broken skull. That hasn't miraculously healed. And we do have 3 suspensions today. 2 key players. Brodic is suspended. Centurion suspended. And Stoyanov is suspended as well. And Riper, although officially not injured anymore, I don't think that man looks fit to play. 72% condition, 58% match fitness. He's getting there. He'll be playing again soon, but unfortunately not quite fit enough to play today. So we are having to go with the old man, former Arsenal, well, basically old man Arsenal rejects at the back. They're both of our centre-backs are 34 and weren't deemed good enough for the team we're playing today. So a little bit worrying defensively, but we are going with Vujicic in goal. A back 4 of Sretenovic because Joksimovic has been injured, still not quite fit enough to start. Dayofin and Ferguson as our centre-backs, Cutler at right back, Wanda, Esteban and Caminero in midfield with Nuhu in behind Alonso and Kerr. I mean, it's looking like a good team to me, and I'm thinking January transfer spensies, another midfielder, so that we probably shouldn't have sold Scholes when we did. We brought him in for free, never played him and sold him on. I mean, it was a decent profit, but if we'd have known we were going to get taken over and have loads of money thrown at us, we wouldn't have needed that 8 million quid. If we knew we were going to get another 35 million chucked at us a month later, we could have kept Scholes around and we wouldn't be playing attacking midfielders in central midfield quite so often. So I'd like to bring in another midfielder in January and a young up-and-coming centre-back. So if we are ever in a situation again where both Brodic and Riper are unavailable, we don't have to play both old men at the same time. If someone wants to give me money for either Dayofin or Ferguson, I'll take some money to bring in a youngster as well, just for squad spaces, really, because our squad is maxed out. We could take Jokic out of the squad, who's never getting anywhere near the team, but he is homegrown, so we'd have to replace him with an English player. Kerr's just put us 1-0 up. What an important goal that could turn out to be. Dayofin is also homegrown. He's English. Ferguson is actually not homegrown. He's Scottish and didn't arrive in the Premier League until he was in his early 20s. So if we're bringing in a foreigner, then we could do a swapsy for Ferguson. And if someone wants to give us money for Ferguson, we did turn down a £6 million offer for him in the summer, but we just didn't have a replacement at the time. But if someone wants to give us 6 or 7 million for 34-year-old Ferguson at this point, I know we spent nearly £20 million on him, but we've had 2.5 years of very useful service from him at this point. I think we've moved on from needing to use him regularly. There you go. Nowhere near that, was he? So 5 or 6 million for him. Go and stick £20 million on a 23-year-old who's just starting to emerge. Similar sort of mould to Ripert was. And then if we can bring in another midfielder along the likes of Caminero, Centurion, Wanda, that kind of player. Ashley Hayes is still knocking around, but probably not really up to it anymore. And I don't know if Kovacevic is ever going to make it. But again, Kovacevic and Hayes are both homegrown. So if we're bringing in foreigners, they're not players that we can replace. So I guess we take Jokic out of the squad. No, because Jokic is homegrown as well. I don't see how we get a young foreigner in midfield. We might have to actually sign an English midfield player, which immediately ramps the prices up. But should we not worry about January for now? Let's try and beat Arsenal. Obviously, they do have Twan. We'd love to bring in Twan. Twan's an English midfielder. Of course, he is another attacking midfielder who can play in midfield. We've got a lot of them already. We probably don't need to bring in another, but if they want to let me have him for 30 million, I'd absolutely bring him back. And Arsenal are beating us again, 2-1 after half an hour. We're not going to panic yet. We have our excuse. We got our excuses in early. The centre back partnership we've had to play, not having Jones available. Not having what's his face Centurion available. I think Stoyanov as well not being available. I think we've got enough excuses as long as we're not embarrassed. We don't want to be beaten 5-0 by them again like we were on the first day of the year. Kieran Kerr getting injured is problematic because we don't have another striker. We've only got Jokic on the bench. So I think the time has come for our old favourite, the 4-3-2-1, which we haven't done for a little while. And just do that. Because I don't want to bring Jokic on. Jokic, I think I'm just about done with Jokic. We've got 4 players ahead of him in the pecking order now. Admittedly, a whole bunch of them are injured or suspended now. So he might actually get some game time, maybe even against Liverpool. But I'm so upset about having to play Jokic that I'm losing the ability to speak. My whole family are poorly today. I'm hiding out here to try not to get poorly, but I do feel a sore throat coming on. If there's no video tomorrow, that's why. Kev got poorly. Fingers crossed there will be though. And also, talking of things that you should be aware of, oh my word, we've lost the other striker. I guess Jokic gets some game time today then. What are the chances when you've got 5 strikers in your Premier League squad? What are the chances of losing 4 of them all at the same time? This is just ridiculous. I don't know how we find a way back into this game now. We had our excuses in early, and they've only got more excusey as the game has gone on because we're clearly just being punished. Football Manager's decided we're not going to win the Premier League this year because we're not good enough. So let's just punish you. Jokic is going to score now, isn't he? Oh, off the crossbar. What I was trying to say is I have finally brought Football Manager back to Twitch. I streamed last night on Twitch. I'm using lollujo FC again, my created team that we were using for about the first 6 months of FM18 being out. We've not loaded that save up for months now, but we did bring it back last night. I am going to be streaming again tonight on Twitch from about 9 o'clock, continuing with lollujo FC. So it would be awesome to see some of you come back and join me over on Twitch again. This is going to be, we're getting into our FM19 Twitch schedule now. We're trying to get a routine nailed down for streaming for when that game comes out. And I think what it's looking like at the moment is I'm going to be streaming Mondays, Wednesdays and Thursdays at 9 p.m. over on Twitch, twitch.tv/lollujo.fm. And I've got some interesting plans. I'll discuss more at 9 o'clock tonight over on Twitch. So if you want to know what the interesting plans are, you need to come over and watch me live this evening. See? Kev's tempting you. Obviously, if you're watching this in 6 months' time, I mean, the Twitch replay's still available, but you probably can't watch it live at this point. Although that schedule should still be in place, because the last one lasted nearly a year. Right, Nuhu. Starting his first game for goodness knows how long, and he's just not as effective from the start. Perhaps he just needs to be our super sub from now on. Bring him on with 25 minutes to go and he scores. Play him from the start. I mean, okay, he's been the best player in the team by a gazillion miles. So shut up, Kev. The comments will attack you again. Right, Hayes, big difference maker coming on in midfield. This has been a shame. The one thing we've got going in our favour, I guess, is that it's already a 2-horse race. We're not even at the halfway point of the season yet. And us and Arsenal are so far clear of third place that it is a 2-horse race, and we have got time to claw it back against them now. They're the one team in the Premier League who are better than us, but we've got another 20 games left this season now, and we don't have to play them in the league again. So if we win more of our final 20 games than they do, we might still win the league, even though we know they're better than us. Clutching at straws a little bit, but sad now. We were playing they've beaten us 3 times this season now. Arsenal have just suddenly become a very, very good team, which is really frustrating because they finished 6th last year and the year before. Where have they suddenly appeared from? Right, let's go play Liverpool and hopefully redeem ourselves a little bit. Sometimes things start to go too well in Football Manager and the game just decides to kick you in the nuts to punish you. It goes from bad to worse. Kieran Kerr broke his leg. He's out for the next 6 to 8 months. Done for the season. The last time we had a superstar striker break his leg, it was Dennis Jensen. He was never the same man. That might be it for Kieran Kerr. He's a little bit younger than Jensen was. Like 2 years, 1 year maybe, 2 years younger than Jensen was. But immediately he's been knocked down to 3 stars from 4 stars. And I know these ratings aren't everything, but goodness me, the game's already thumped him for breaking his leg. So Kieran Kerr might be done. It might be time to buy a new striker, especially because Jones still injured. Stoyanov is now away for the month on international duty. He's not back until the start of February. He's off with Australia. And Alonso got a concussion. He's out for the next couple of weeks. We have no Jokic is the only striker at the club, to the point where on the bench today we have Connor Hassan, who's 21-year-old Northern Irish under-21 international. He's only scored 1 goal in 16 appearances for the Northern Ireland under-21s. We signed him on a free from Chelsea. This is one of these ones that the director of football brought in, and I thought, yeah, whatever, let's bring in some youngsters. He's not the man, but he's going to be on our bench today. And we are doing a tactical change to accommodate this. We've used this tactic before. We've used it against Liverpool before. We used the 4-3-3 with the 3 attacking midfielders against Liverpool and beat them 7-2. Was it last year or the year before? It was a different front 3. I think it was Nuhu, McAllister and Erhan at the time, possibly. Certainly different personnel, but hopefully we'll have the same result. And there's massive changes to this team. So we've got changes at centre-back. Brodic and Ripert both coming back into the team. Ripert's only fit to play 45 minutes. In fact, I should probably put a centre-back on the bench. See, Kev's a genius. I figure that out. Let's just get Hassan off the bench. He ain't coming on. Ferguson can come on the bench to come on for Ripert at half-time. Brodic is back from suspension. Joksimovic still not... I mean, potentially I could bring Joksimovic back in, but I don't want to have 2 players recovering from injury at the back, and I think it's more important to get Ripert back in the team. In fact, we need to switch him back to being the ball-playing defender. He used to be on cover, but apparently he can't do it on cover, so he can just do it on defend. Fair enough. Wanda, Centurion and Caminero in midfield. So Centurion returns from suspension as well. And then the 3 attacking midfielders are Nuhu, Fernandez and Esteban. When we've used this tactic in the past, it can either look spectacular or pathetic. And a lot depends on the quality of the players who are up there doing the attacking. We do tend to control the midfield. So we've effectively got six central midfielders on the pitch. But it's just whether we can get our attacking players into enough of an attacking position. Obviously, Nuhu's a goal scorer. Fernandez has gone on goal scoring runs in the past. Esteban, not so much. It's a gamble, but I don't know how much of a gamble it really is when the alternative was playing Jokic, who I've written him off so many times. I just don't think he's good enough. He'll come on today and score the winner probably, but let's see how the 4-3-3 works initially. Kev goes strikerless. Whoever thought this day would come? I don't think I've ever done it in a video before. Caminero out to Sretenovic, crosses into Fernandez, and we're 1-0 up. And Fernandez got himself into a striker's position. Knew who was in the 6-yard box as well. So initial thoughts, it seems to be working. Nuhu and Fernandez both got well forward. Esteban's held back to get involved in the build-up play, but all 3 of them are in the penalty area there. So can't complain. 1-0. Let's go and score another 8 and decide never to play a striker again. I mean, we might actually have to go 3 weeks without playing a striker while everybody's injured. Because part of me's thinking, You're Kev, remember? Just buy a new striker. What, you've got a month where you can't play any of your 4 strikers? Buy another one, Kev. You've got £45 million to spend. But then I think, yeah, but shortly after that, they're all going to be back again. Kerr, obviously not, but we're going to have Stoyanov, Jones and Alonso are all going to be fit again, or returning to the team, by the end of January. Do we really want to go and spend money on a striker who's properly better than Jokic? You're going to be spending £25 million on a striker who's significantly better than Jokic. Do we want to spend £25 million on a 6-8 game stopgap? Potentially we do if we're trying to win the league. It's a difficult one. Oh, let me know down in the comments what you'd do. Do you go out and buy another striker? Or do we go with this for a little while? Because, I mean, it's not been particularly effective against a very poor Liverpool team. Remember, this isn't modern-day Liverpool. This is a Liverpool team that are in a relegation battle this season. Nuhu's not played very well at all, although he's got himself into an attacking position there. There's Esteban, and he scores as well. So, 2 of the front 3 have scored. Nuhu hasn't yet. We'll leave him on the pitch for another 10 minutes or so, and then probably bring Jokic on with 20 minutes to go for whichever one of the front 3 is having the poorest game. And at the moment, that's Nuhu, because the other 2 have both scored, and Nuhu's sat there as our worst player on the pitch at the moment. Starting Nuhu doesn't work. It's weird. He's been brilliant for 8 or 9 games coming off the bench. He's been absolutely superb. But starting him, he's just not got it from the start at the moment. I don't know why. So Jokic can come on and make it a 4-3-2-1. We should probably freshen up the midfield as well. We're a little bit tired after all these games, so we could, I was supposed to take off. I was supposed to take off Ripert. There you go. Ferguson comes on. This is why I should never play a player who's just scraped through a fitness test. I hope I've not broken him even more. I don't even remember what midfielder I've brought on now. What did I do? Did I bring on Hayes in midfield? I panicked so much about getting Ferguson on. I think I brought on Hayes for Centurion or Caballero. I'll figure it out in a minute. I was halfway through that substitution. Cabanero's still on, so it must have been Centurion who went off. Which is silly, really, because Centurion didn't play in the last game, and the other 2 did. So I should have left him on. Because, yeah, Cabanero's much more tired than Centurion was. This is what happens when I panic because I get my substitution wrong. Arsenal are losing. Blackburn have just gone ahead against Arsenal. Blackburn are back up in the Champions League spots again this year. They were there 2 years ago and then had a really poor year last year. Wolves did it last year and are now in a relegation battle themselves. Blackburn seem to be back and have beaten Arsenal. So all of a sudden, losing against Arsenal becomes much less of a big deal because it's basically cancelled it out. We won, they lost. This is going to be an interesting January. And we will return at the end of it, I imagine. I'm aiming for the next episode to be... It'll be what... I don't know, do we go all the way through to the second leg against Nantes? That's a long way. That's nearly... that's over 2 months of game time. But what's the point in bringing you back for Middlesbrough and Watford when Nantes is there? What's the point in bringing you back for the first leg when we've got the second leg there? So I think we'll go all the way through to that one, if I've got time to play all those matches. And then see how the rest of the season looks like it's shaping up from there. I said we were going to have bigger gaps between episodes as we try and get this series finished before FM19. If you have enjoyed that today, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for us. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.